Seconds left.
That was good.
Thank you.
Yeah, how was it? Good? Okay, good. Right early. Yeah. What's your Facebook?
Yeah.
Just
No Photoshop,
isn't there a Botox app?
beauty filter,
Botox app. Oh, yeah,
right?
that's delicious.
I found it on sale during Christmas holiday time, so it was on sale. And look at this, right?
Attention, paging Kevin Deese to the dugout, please. Paging Kevin Deese to the dugout, please. Thank you. Please take your seats. The show is about to begin. Thank you.
No, it's like half an hour.
Please take your seats. Our program will begin in 1 minute.
The push the this part is right on cue. That was how technological we sounded.
Oh, she knows. She knows.
She was like, oh, you
Part of it for me is that I don't keep up on it. I don't even do it.
29 updates.
Travis
Like,
does
why?
my updates like in the middle of the day. So yeah.
That was like every month, every other day.
Hello, hello, hello. Is this a good distance, everyone? This good? You feeling it? Yes. Hi. Hi, everyone. Good evening and welcome to the 11th annual A Place to Call Home program. Thank you all so much for coming out to CHS Field on this lovely evening. Woo! Yeah! It is lovely too. I mean, it's written that way, but it's real. So I promise you are in for a motivating and heartfelt hour. And yes, unlike a ball game that goes into overtime, we mean it when we say 1 hour. Afterwards, we have some crazy fun lined up for you, as well as our showing of the musical drama Bohemian Rhapsody. So yes, look forward to that. So my name is Daniel Jude, and I'm a clinical pharmacist that works closely with people living with HIV. About 10 years ago, I became involved with Clare Housing as a supper club volunteer, making dinner for one of the care homes once a month, sharing in a meal with residents, learning, and giving back. I would like to take a moment real quick and acknowledge some very important supporters of Clare Housing. Community sponsors have contributed over $100,000 in support for this evening's program. Yes, bring those claps. That's baffling. That is so generous. Thank you for that. And there are also, there's another pool of $10,000 in a matching challenge grant available for us to unlock this very evening. In particular, I'd like to call out and thank our visionary sponsor, Gilead Sciences, and our legacy sponsors, Geratom Medical, Dominium, yeah, get those cheers if you recognize, and Success Computer Consulting for their generous gifts. So thank you. I don't dare clap right on this thing. Next, let's take a moment to thank our very important team captains. Team captains! I would love if you could stand and cheer for your team right now. Let the people know who you are. Oh, the work that you did. Yes, that's right. You play a key role in helping us spread the gospel of Clare Housing. To the Clare Housing staff, you guys are interspersed with everyone. Every day, you show up at the door and do all you can to help transform the lives of the people you serve. You are at the heart of our mission, and in this year, more than ever, as we have continued to navigate a pandemic as well as staff changes, you've earned our deepest gratitude. On behalf of the Clare Housing Board of Directors, volunteers, and residents, we thank you. And finally, for the residents of Clare Housing, you are the reason we're all here. Your stories inspire us, encourage us, and motivate us to keep working until everyone living with HIV in Minnesota has a place to call home. Good energy, this section right here, good energy. Yes, that's fun. Okay. Thank you for your courage and for sharing your stories with us. Again, thank you to the residents. And most importantly to all of you, thank you for opening your hearts to love and to support those you will meet in our program this evening. Now, personally, as a supper club volunteer, I got to see firsthand the grace and dignity that manifests from Clare Housing's critical services. And I can tell you, stable housing is critical for health and wellness. This is why Clare Housing is so very important to me and why I'm a Journey Home Circle member, which is a name for those supporters that give $1,000 or more annually to Clare Housing. The certainty of knowing you have a warm and safe space to rest each night can and does change lives. A home heals. I hope each of you will join me tonight in affirming your support of this amazing organization. And that those who are able will consider becoming Journey Home Circle members themselves.
So cute. We're so happy you're here, honey. Yeah, I'm very happy. I'm very happy. You're so happy. It's all from Terry. She made the referral.
Hi. Sorry about that. We're having technical issues right now. Blame it on me. But they are figuring out the sound now. We feel that the person's story that we intend to share deserves to be shared. So please give us a little bit. Thank you. Thank you for your patience and love. We're going to figure this out. Thank you. So cute.
We're so happy you're here, honey. Yeah, I'm getting happy. You're so happy. It's all from Terry. She be your referral. Please give on some last year. It's not in this kid. Please give nothing. Oh my God, I'm oh, honey, you get it back. You finally get your
Thank you. Thanks for your patience. We've got some other volume coming later tonight, so I'm glad that worked. Hello, I am Phoebe Trepp, Executive Director of Clare Housing. Thank you all for being here today. I am so thrilled to be here in person with all of you. Last year, I spoke at this annual event from quarantine as I recovered from COVID-19. I had been at Clare less than 2 months at that time. This year, I'm excited to share my thoughts on why Clare Housing is so essential in our state and how Clare Housing will help shape the future of homelessness and HIV. Clare Housing's outcomes speak for themselves. So let me start there. 90% is what I want you to remember. 90%. Clare provides affordable, permanent, supportive housing to people with HIV who are also unstably housed, were experiencing homelessness, and who often have additional significant physical and mental health concerns. Yet, despite these barriers, once people get into Clare Housing, over 90% maintain their housing long-term, and 90% reach a level of health where their HIV is undetectable. Meaning, it's pretty amazing. This means Clare Housing is ending homelessness and preventing the spread of HIV individual by individual for 90+% of our residents. As the executive director, the question I seek to explore is twofold. One, why does Clare Housing work so well? And two, what is our role in doing more to spread our impact? In my time here, I have some ideas about the ingredients that, when combined, make Clare Housing work. The first is our staff structure. Our staff are here to be in relationship with our residents, to understand their needs, and to respond proactively. Staff are present at every Clare Housing building 24/7, around the clock, every day of the year. I'm not going to be dancing or anything like that. Our staff create an environment that makes us good neighbors, looking out for residents, our property, and the community. Inside the buildings, our staff recognize the human dignity of each person we serve, which is often a new experience for our clients. Staff employ strategies to reduce the harm of drug use, mental illness, and potential housing lease violations.
to proactively help people maintain their safety and their housing. Our nursing staff have on-call backup around the clock, and our nurses are deeply engaged in the physical and mental health care of our home care clients. In our care homes, staff provide one-to-one care, including assistance with bathing, providing meals, and complicated medication management. As with any good service organization, our frontline staff are the backbone of our success. Yeah, give them a hand. Thank you. A second ingredient for success at Clare Housing is the model of providing a range of choices and housing options for our clients. There is no single solution to solve HIV or homelessness, and we have been fluid in changing our scope to meet the needs. Within Clare, we have distinct housing options that offer a range of support, numerous locations, from our care homes to our apartments to the scattered site program that leases individual units in the private market to residents. Our clients have often faced severe stigma and discrimination resulting from structural racism, homophobia, generational poverty, and intense individual traumas. Living at Clare offers people a choice in location, type of setting, and level of support. This allows residents to choose and build true homes, places where they set down roots, homes they can count on for the weeks and years to come. Clare also provides a home to age in place, and for some, a home where they can die with dignity and privacy, surrounded by loved ones of their choosing. When government funding is involved, which makes up about 70% of Clare Housing's budget, flexibility can be very limited. We have been asked to convert our housing into assisted living facilities, remove our nursing care, or limit the number of people who can enter who have HIV. While pressure to conform to other systems is high, Clare Housing is not one size fits all, because that is not what our clients want or need. We remain dynamic, flexible, and responsive to our clients. We offer choice, independence, and community. This is why Clare Housing works. Thirdly, we don't give up. Clare Housing practices housing first, low barrier housing. This means our priority is to work with those who have no other viable housing options, who would be turned down by landlords or other nonprofit housing providers. We aim to house people who can't find what they need anywhere else. We won't give up on the fight to end the spread of HIV, and we don't give up on the people we serve. Of course, we experience setbacks, times when a client might fall back, cause harm, and be asked to leave. We have staff shortages, resulting in people working 16-hour shifts, often through the night or through a COVID outbreak within one of our buildings. We experience the threat of funding cuts that jeopardize our model, but our work is to serve our people, to prioritize those who need a new chance, and it works. We have residents who become HIV activists, who volunteer at food shelves, who adopt and care for abandoned animals. Residents like Dewan and Ivory, whom you'll meet later in our program. Residents who reconnect with family members, go back to school, and earn good paying jobs. We see people who have left Clare Housing not in a good place in their life, who return to Clare years later and create a stable, warm, healthy home. It all starts with housing. Housing is healthcare. Housing allows for transportation, employment, and social connection. Housing is hope. While this is not an exhaustive list of why Clare Housing is effective, let me move on to discuss the future and our role in it. Homelessness, particularly people living either outside or in encampments, is prevalent. In 2020, deaths due to substance use and suicide were up 30%. HIV transmission, homelessness, and poverty are inequitable, fueled by systems built on racism, sexism, and homophobia. We are amidst the first ever Minnesota state declared outbreak in the history of the HIV pandemic. Here in the metro, the epicenter of the HIV outbreak is among people using intravenous drugs who are experiencing homelessness. During this outbreak, we have a 10-fold increase over the previous rates of transmission. And despite improvements in HIV treatment and preventative medicine, the spread of HIV continues to take place largely among gay and bisexual men, people of color, and people experiencing homelessness. This is why we are here today. We know Clare Housing works specifically for people experiencing homelessness with HIV. Clare Housing needs to continue our work with a focus on moving quickly to expand services to others in need. We added 20 new units to our housing offerings this year to house people involved with the current HIV outbreak. Some of those staff are here today that are getting those 20 units filled. In 2022, we'll move into Bloom Lake Flats, a partnership with Project for Pride in Living. There, Clare Housing will serve people living with HIV in 42 new units, including our first 15 family units. And in 2021, we are expanding our mental health services by bringing on our first full-time mental health practitioner to improve outcomes for clients, especially following the isolation and fear from the past 18 months. Looking to the future, we have started exploring new housing developments based on the biggest needs, knowing we have far more people waiting for Clare Housing than we can currently serve. We are investigating how Clare Housing might work in greater Minnesota as we see the spread of HIV increasing outside of the metro area. We're looking for new partners, from those who can help advocate, to those who volunteer, or to help fund the work we are doing. We have a lot of work to do, and we need all of your help. But we know what we do works, and we know who we serve. We know HIV and homelessness can be addressed, it can be prevented, and ultimately solved. We know that even if it takes many years to fulfill our mission, every person we serve today and tomorrow matters. Thank you for being here, for being part of our work, and for helping us build home, health, and hope every day in this community. Together, our voices and actions are making a difference. Thank you.
I don't know that we would be able to do everything that we would want to do without having volunteers around. We've had so many wonderful volunteers that have delivered hot meals to us, groceries, have helped us clean up the garden in the back of the building, and recently we had some volunteer opportunities to look after this guy. Tori, we have decided, is a toy Manchester Terrier mix. Tori's dad unfortunately had an accident and needed to be in the hospital and needed some additional recovery time that was long beyond what we could do as staff to look after Tori here in the building. And so we started asking for some help.
Initially, I was worried about what would happen to him.
I met Tori when Jeff brought Tori to our house, so we just basically met just in front of our house on the street. It was a fairly simple ask from my perspective to just take care of another dog. And I thought like it may help somebody much more than it does impact me.
And we were very fortunate that Thorsten was able to step in and take over for the last few days before Ray came back home.
Oh, it made me feel good that I knew he was in good hands, and I didn't have to worry about where he was at or who he was with. Oh, good boy, yeah.
I stayed in touch with Ray throughout his hospitalization and throughout his rehab before he came back home. And to be able to provide that reassurance that Tori was well cared for really did set his mind and his heart at ease. The fact that Clare Housing has a policy that allows for pets and companion animals makes such a difference for folks who are looking for housing and need to find housing that is going to allow for their loved one to be with them. It's one less barrier that folks have to overcome.
Oh, he's a great help for me. I've diagnosed with depression, and he also my depression quite a bit. It's gone down, and Tori's a great help.
Just as I sit here, just being able to pet him while he's sitting here next to me is so calming. It's amazing how it really can impact a person's anxiety level, their stress level. It feels so good just to have somebody that can just be here, no expectations, just love.
Thank God we have Bucko. He's been my rock now that Leroy's gone.
But I'm also just thinking about physiologically, having that connection, feeling your heart rate just really kind of come to a place of calm. It's a miracle.
You're my best friend.
As a pet owner myself, it's absolutely critical to be able to have the unconditional love of a pet, to have a connection with another living being just is so crucial. Tori was about as easy of a pet to look after. He's as resilient as the folks that we work with here. When the situation changes, you just roll with it. And honestly, I think the experience has brought the best out in Tori as much as it has in Ray.
What an amazing night. And look at all these beautiful people. Hello, my name is Don Moscow. I'm the president of the Clare Housing Board of Directors. For the first 2 years, we have used this occasion to recognize the work of someone who has gone above and beyond. However, this year, we're breaking with tradition, just a little. We want to take this moment to acknowledge the collective work of dedicated, committed individuals who have made exceptional contributions towards creating home, health, and hope for individuals living with HIV. I'm referring to the Clare Housing's incredible staff. They are the heart and soul of this great organization. As Phoebe said herself, the staff is one of the crucial ingredients in what makes Clare Housing so effective. But I want you to know a little more about what that has meant over the last 18 months. Within the first 12 months of COVID, 8 staff and 22 residents were infected. More have been positive for COVID since. Due to exposures prior to the vaccine, staff were required to quarantine 87 times in 12 months, resulting in an enormous amount of last-minute staff coverage. It has meant hundreds of hours researching and implementing practices to keep residents safe from COVID-19. It has meant creating, quickly learning, and following new procedures which change often as we receive new information about COVID and its variants. It has meant stepping in to help residents with ordering groceries and connecting with telehealth appointments. It's meant supporting residents as they face decisions about visiting family and friends or not. It has meant being vigilant about testing and quarantine guidelines, withstanding stress and uncertainty while holding space for fear and frustration that residents have experienced. This is the day-to-day work of Clare Housing's team. And while we have seen how skillfully they handle crisis situations, perhaps their most meaningful gift is their extraordinary commitment, showing up every day and being persistent in keeping residents healthy as possible. So now, on behalf of Clare Housing's Board of Directors and all of us gathered here, I'd like to ask the staff who are present today to stand to accept this most well-deserved recognition and our deepest appreciation. Please stand. Congratulations to the 2021 Housing Heroes, the Clare Housing staff.
I wasn't surprised when I was diagnosed because I was in heavy active addiction with methamphetamine. And some of my partners at the time when I was using were HIV positive.
When I found out that he was HIV positive, I was afraid of losing with his son. I was really afraid.
My addiction, it's been an ongoing struggle for the last 17 years. I met this chapter in my parents' life where my mom's got dementia, my dad just turned 82. They're not going to be around anymore, and so I need to create a life for myself with healthy people, healthy friendships, healthy relationships. My dad has been supportive of everything. There are times where it wasn't easy, especially with the addiction part. It was escape from living with HIV in a small town where there was stigma and there's finger pointing and outing people that were with HIV. It was also escape from a criminal record that I have as a teenager. That I still deal with today. It does affect my ability to get housing. I can't get HUD-funded programs. I can't get Section 8. I can't get city, county, public housing. I can't get private subsidized housing.
People need to know that just because they did some certain thing, it doesn't mean that they're bad people. I am most proud of him for standing up for justice and equality for all.
My dad's an amazing activist. Everything like you can think of, he supports, and he's just amazing.
Clare Housing to me is a place for HIV people. They can live a life with some respect and dignity instead of being pushed out into the street and be homeless.
No, I feel good. I have momentum in my life right now. Clare Housing is helping me with that. They have amazing supportive services. It's housing first, too. If I didn't have Clare Housing, there's a good chance I would be on the street.
I love my son. I think housing is giving him hope. I'm really grateful my son has a place to call home. He gave me a cup for Father's Day. This cup said, I have a hero. I call him Dad. Love you, Cal. I love you too.
Claire Housing is a place to call home.
Hello, my name is Dewan, and this is my husband Ivory. We live in Clear Housing Scattered Sites program, and this is our story. In the early morning of April 29th, 2016, I received a call from my sister-in-law's phone. But when I answered the phone, it was my brother. I knew it was trouble. She planned to leave him. I advised her that she needed to go somewhere to get away. Now I was in the middle of their stuff. They drove to the house where we lived. I came outside. When she saw me, she jumped out the car. My brother jumped out as well. They exchanged words. I heard bam, bam, bam. I took off running. Her body lay there for a while. 2 hours later, my brother shot himself. Now his body lay 2 alleys over. After that, I became so depressed. I couldn't face the fact that they both were gone by his hands. I didn't know how to deal with it all. I felt like I was grieving in all the wrong way. I was angry because this was my little brother. How could he do this? I wasn't eating. I wasn't sleeping. My anxiety was through the roof. I was self-medicating, drinking a lot, but not even getting drunk. At this time, I met Ivory. He was my light. I felt things were beginning to change.
I met Dewan online and I thought that he looked too good. By this, I mean too masculine and too straight. Was he really gay? My first impression was good. I went over to his house where he was barbecuing and I met his children the same day. I liked that he was connected to his family, his sisters, and his children. We had a strong connection right away and we started to get to know each other. Things was going very good, but I had an intuition that something was going more with Dewan. We were talking regularly and we had plans one day, and then suddenly he disappeared for a week. When we started talking again, I felt like he was hiding something. Was it he married? He kept trying to divert the conversation. Finally, I said, would it make you feel better if I told you I was HIV positive? That was it. He was so worried about me finding it out. So it was a relief for him that we were both HIV positive. After that, we became inseparable. I soon found out that Dewan also had diabetes and had high blood pressure. He was drinking and not eating. I was so worried that he was suicidal and I wanted to stay by his side.
At this point, I knew we had to get out of Indiana. Had to make a move. We decided to come to Minnesota. A family member invited us. But within hours of us staying with her, I realized she had a drug problem. This house was not a good place for us. People were coming, going all the time. We stayed with her a few months. It was very hard. Then I got word my aunt was very sick down in Arkansas. My parents were addicts. I was born addicted to heroin. My aunt raised me, and she calls me her nephew's son. I had to go. She had given me so much growing up. There was not a Sunday we went to church that she did not sing a song. She introduced me to the Lord. I felt like Ivory was sent during my time of agony because nothing was soothing my pain. So we went to be with her.
I was going through my own stuff. Dewan came at the right time. I felt like God sent him as well. He played gospel music that I heard back when I was growing up. He even introduced me to things to me at a time that I needed it. He was always family oriented. He was a different vibe. I felt anxiety being around people and I had stopped letting people in. But with Dewan, I began to let people in again. We stayed down south for 3 to 4 months and then we began to come back to Minnesota.
We knew we'd be coming back to nothing. We did find a shelter, but we had a truck. We couldn't find a place to park, so we decided to live in it. We lived in the Cubs parking lot because we couldn't. We lived in the Cubs parking lot because we could use the bathroom and I could go in at night because I was a diabetic and could not take my medicine. My diabetes was all out of control.
We were homeless for 6 months. We did labor work. We grilled in the parks and we ate at Catholic charities. Then we found out about Rainbow Health, which helped us with our medicine and guided us to the Lavenish Project, which was another food resource. And that's how we got hooked up with Claire Housing. Dewan filled out our paperwork, and finally, there was hope for getting housing.
We were in the Cubs parking lot. It was hot as hell. I wanted to drive to the park that had the pool, but we didn't have any gas. I was sitting in the truck, sweating. I received a call from Carmen, the housing manager of Clear Housing, to come and sign my lease. I was so excited I couldn't sleep a couple of days. I could see the Clear building from the Cubs parking lot.
Our first holiday that we shared was Labor Day. To have our first Thanksgiving and Christmas meant even more to us in our own apartment. This was very important to us becoming stable. We could now take our medicine and we both quit smoking cigarettes. It's been 3 years that we haven't smoked. It was hard, but we did it cold turkey.
When the kids, my kid's mother called and said they needed me, I told them to come. They had to come to become eligible for housing through Clear Housing Scattered Sites program. We moved to Brooklyn Park. It was so quiet, I could not believe it. No sirens. Neighbors came over, welcomed us to the neighborhood. Hey, I had never experienced that before. We had all the numbers on the block.
Then in October of 2020, we got married in the backyard of our house. We were going to keep it very small because of COVID, but then we started telling our family, then they wanted to support us. My mom, stepdad, sisters, and nephew came. Even the Dewan kids' sisters and cousins came. It just grew. In the end, we had a little bit over 50 people.
October 10th, 2020 was a day of happiness. Ivory spoke his vows and I sang mine. We decorated, catered, and hosted our own wedding. It was dear to us because we are able to showcase our aspirations as chefs and entrepreneurs.
Living with HIV has been a challenge, but with Claire Housing support, I found strength in places I didn't know existed, conquered fears I didn't think I could overcome, and now I'm able to be in a state of peace. I found who I am again. In the words of author Norman Vincent Peale, the inner life of peace, being harmonious and without stress, is the easiest type of existence. Thank you, Claire Housing.
My future dream is to become a chef and have my own business. It will not only become a source of stability for me and my family, but also for the community. Stable housing helped us and our kids, my health, my marriage, and it is a true blessing, a true place to call home.
Good evening, Claire Housing family, and welcome to CHS Field. which I believe stands for our Housing Heroes of the Year, Clare Housing Staff Field. I believe that's actually the real what it's named for. Yeah. My name is Kevin Deese, and I have had the honor of serving on Clare Housing's board since 2019. Now, I'm going to level with you folks right off the bat, okay? Clare Housing needs you to open up your hearts and your wallets tonight. But more importantly, I need y'all to open up your hearts and wallets tonight, all right? Okay, hear me out. So the thing is, I'm a cash-strapped, student loan-burdened millennial serving on the board, okay? And as such, while Clare Housing's board is a very active one that's a lot more than writing checks, I still sometimes get a little self-conscious that I'm not really pulling my weight in that department. So I really need y'all to do me a solid here and help it seem like I'm really donating a lot of money, but really it's you guys. Okay? Okay, no, all kidding aside, what I'm really here to do is to tell you in my voice about the impact that Clare makes in the HIV community here in Minnesota. My own personal HIV story is fairly unique in some of the particulars, but I'd also assert that if you look underneath those particulars, you'll see the outlines of a story shared by all Clare residents. On April 1st, 2014, I was a month and a half away from graduating from the United States Naval Academy and beginning a career of service as an officer in the Navy. It started out a gorgeous Annapolis spring day, but that April Fool's Day quickly took a turn for the worst for me. I was summoned to the office of the commandant, who was essentially the dean of students, and he informed me of my HIV positive diagnosis. And that's when he really should have stood up and shouted, "April Fools!" No, I'm kidding. That would have been a pretty messed up joke. But honestly, what he actually said next was immeasurably more messed up. He told me that on graduation day, I would be graduating, but I would not be taking my place in the fleet alongside the rest of my class. My diagnosis made me unfit to serve. Once the numbness and mental paralysis that the initial shock of this double whammy had subsided a bit, that word, unfit, sank so deep into me. And it stayed there for the weeks, months, and even years that followed. I felt unfit to feel pride on my graduation day as I remained seated as the rest of my classmates rose with their right hands in the air to take their oath of office. Sorry. Over the next few months, I felt unfit to receive the overwhelming love and support from my family. For a couple of years, I felt unfit to be loved or desired by others who would only ever see me, I thought, as damaged goods. For even longer, I felt unfit to claim the Naval Academy as my alma mater, knowing that every time I did so, the next question would always be, where did you serve? Or what did you do in the Navy? Now, on the flip side, I had a lot of things going for me. Despite my self-perceived unfitness, I had a bachelor's degree from a respected institution, even if I had to get creative at times in explaining my unorthodox post-academy trajectory. I had supportive, upper-middle-class parents who provided a soft place to land after my naval career was swept out from under me, and I was left to pick up the pieces and blindly chart a new course. Even in my dating life, it certainly had some very low lows, but I ran into enough nice guys to eventually make me feel like I wasn't necessarily doomed to die alone. Although honestly, right now, the jury's still out on that one. But even with all those forms of privilege working in my favor, including the privilege that exists in having this disease as a white cisgender gay man, white male privilege in a social context where having HIV is at least not a total shock when disclosed, even with all these privileges, that feeling of unfitness held me back for years. I knew that the policies under which I was discharged and robbed of a career were discriminatory and had no basis and the medical reality of living with HIV in this day and age, and that those policies should be challenged, but that unfit stigma cut deep. Eventually, in 2018, I did become the lead plaintiff on a case challenging those policies, a case which, spoiler alert, remains tied up in court today. This, I believe, was the path I was meant to walk, and yet, even with all my relative privileges and advantages, it took me 4 years to take that first step. Now, like I said, my story has some very specific components that make it seem uncommon, but at its core, it's an account of someone who, only through an immense amount of support and over quite a bit of time, has been able to harness the pain, anguish, and quote-unquote unfitness that comes with an HIV diagnosis and turn it into a sense of meaning, purpose, and resilience. And those are the exact kind of stories that fill each and every home that Claire provides. Thomas, who otherwise couldn't find housing due to an over 20-year-old criminal conviction, is now stably housed. Claire Housing made sure that Ray's dog Tori was taken care of so that all Ray had to do was focus on his own healing. And for Dwan and Ivory, the stability of a home has helped their kids, their health, their marriage, and above all has given them hope and a chance to find purpose in living again. And you know, I've often heard people living with HIV, including a number of Claire residents, reflect on how HIV, initially a source of immense pain, over time became their superpower. I guess it's an origin story not unlike the radioactive spider bite that gave Spider-Man his powers. A painful event that ultimately equipped them with the power, resilience, and grit they'd need to confront any challenge life throws their way. But even budding superheroes need a roof over their head and some sort of support system. Without that, it is impossible to meet one's physical, mental, and chemical health needs in order to heal from trauma and stigma and live a fulfilled life of love and meaning. Persevering through that healing process is an act of heroism in and of itself, in my opinion. And there's a superhero in every person living with HIV who just needs a place to call home. So, as you open up your checkbooks generously to very generously support Claire Housing tonight, please understand that the very generous action you take tonight is enabling downright superheroes to achieve the life they were meant to live, one full of power and free of any false feelings of unfitness. On the envelope you will receive from your team captain, you will find our Journey Home Circle levels. You'll notice there are also options to pledge jointly with a partner and to set up a monthly payment schedule. We hope many of you will join us by making a multi-year Journey Home Circle level gift. And making your gift is easier than ever. Your team captain will now hand you a donation envelope and pen. Or those of you who opted in to receive cell phone messaging are receiving a link to Give MN. Lastly, thanks to Spire Credit Union and NetGiver, there is a no-fee donation option this year. Simply visit the giving stations located on the concourse with volunteers ready to assist you. However you choose to give tonight. As an incentive, I'm thrilled to share with you that we have $10,000 in matching funds for this evening thanks to the Berry Foundation. We are deeply grateful for their support. This means that any new or increased gift and or multi-year pledge at any level will be matched dollar for dollar up to $10,000. Maybe there's someone out there right now that wants to hit a home run by making a $10,000 gift. How amazing would that be? We all have different financial means. Trust me, I know. We are grateful for any gift of any size that is meaningful to you and demonstrates your commitment to Claire Housing. And for those of you here this evening who currently are Journey Home Circle members, thank you. We are deeply grateful for your investment in our work. As of today, we've raised $468,000 towards the $877,000 we need to raise this year. Please give what you are able. and help us close that remaining gap of $409,000. I'll give you some time to carefully and legibly finish filling out your envelopes. Thank you from all the superheroes at Clare Housing for your time and generosity. When you're finished, please seal your envelope and return it to your team captain. And remember, I'm counting on y'all tonight to make me look really good. So don't let me down. At this time, I'd like to invite Clare Housing Board President Don Mayo-Mashkow to come and close out our formal program this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. Well, another COVID detour bites the dust. In light of all the challenges of coping with and adjusting with yet another disruption in how we usually gather, we appreciate how you imagined with us another way to do this important work. I'm still Don Mayo-Mashkow, and I am still honored to serve as the president of the Clare Housing Board of Directors. I'm so proud to support the amazing Clare Housing staff and volunteers. Their dedicated work brings stability to the lives of our low-income neighbors who are living with HIV and helps prevent the spread of HIV in our community. And because of their creativity and commitment, we are able to meet the challenges of these times and still do this amazing work. And I'm so grateful for you. Take a moment, look around at the teams represented here in this stadium today. You took a chance and came together for another completely different kind of event this year to learn about Clare Housing, meet some of the wonderful people we support, and those that provide that support, as well as discover the reasons that we do this important work. On behalf of the residents, staff, and the Board of Directors of Clare Housing, thank you for your presence and for your financial contributions. We count on this event every year to raise a large portion of Clare's budget so we can provide critical support to our residents. You've made a huge difference to this community and to the people who call Clare Housing home. Thank you. Because of you, Clare Housing can continue to provide home, health, and hope for over 254 individuals every single day. And to the many Gay for Good volunteers who greeted us, got us all efficiently seated, and kept us in order, thank you. To Amit Kamath and friends, thank you for entertaining us with some great music in 2021. We've really missed live music. To Ian Rands, MC extraordinaire, thank you for shining the spotlight on the running of the drag kings and queens, which you are about to see. And let's not forget our brave, daring, and fun drag race competitors. You all deserve a golden stiletto. Please hold your calendars and plan to attend A Place to Call Home next year, September 2022. And finally, before you leave tonight, please be sure to leave your donation forms with one of our wonderful Gay for Good volunteers. Thank you. I hope you're able to stay for the movie Bohemian Rhapsody, showing after our amazing drag race around 7:30. Again, thank you for your attendance and have a fantastic night.
Attention drag race competitors. Please gather over at the Treasure Island pirate ship. Once again, drag race competitors, please gather over at the Treasure Island pirate ship. Ian, your host, will be waiting for you. All attendees are now welcome to get up and enjoy our concessions. You're free to sit in the outfield if you'd like to. Our drag race will start around 7:10 and the movie will begin around 7:30. Remember to wear your masks whenever you're not seated. Thank you. If there are any remaining drag race competitors that have not made their way to the pirate boat, please do so now. Our drag race will begin at approximately 7:10.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, how you doing tonight? You're very far away, so you're going to have to make a lot of noise. Hey everybody, my name is Ian Rands. It is my honor to be the host of the first annual running of the Kings and Queens here tonight. And have a rousing round of applause for our royal court of Kings and Queens over here. Yes, that's you. We've got a drag race to end all drag races here tonight. Thank you again. It's been a great event. This is only going to get better. This is our halftime. This is our intermission. So stretch your legs. And you can even come down here if you want to watch the movie close up, or you want to see people fall down close up, which is always fun. It's always funnier the closer you are. So we have a number of stations here with a number of things on them for them to get properly dragged up. But first, hey, let's meet our royal court over here. All right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, hold on while I go through my note card. All right. Number one, who's Tessa? Tessa. Oh, you're Tessa. Okay, all right. How you doing?
Great.
Perfect. There we go. We just met you. We're awesome. Up next, Stephanie, who's representing Target Pride and Business Council. How you doing today?
Great. Hello.
Are you excited? Are you scared?
I'm pumped.
Yeah. I like the odds on this one. All right. Moving on, Melissa. How you doing, Melissa? A registered nurse who has volunteered on many international medical trips. Wow. And now here you are. Now you have a big birthday coming up.
Oh, I had it.
Oh, you had it? 50. Oh, that was a really rude thing for a guy to say. You don't ask somebody their age, but you did volunteer that earlier. So you now, when's the last time you've run this far, Melissa?
Never.
Okay. This is going to be good. How many angles do we have on this one? Okay, yeah, because we're going to see this from every angle. All right, up next, Michelle, who just retired from Clare Housing after 23 years. Everybody, round of applause for Michelle, everybody. An audience favorite. Ivory. How you doing? You might remember Ivory from earlier. That was a wonderful story. Now, you plan to open a food truck with your husband, right?
Yes, I do.
What are you going to call it?
Fetty Cuisines.
Okay. What kind of cuisines will Fetty Cuisines have?
Everything you can name up. Just come there and request it.
It's a big damn truck. It has to be because they have everything. And Mary, how you doing? The executive director of Riverton Community Housing and a Clare Housing board member. How you doing tonight?
Oh, I'm doing great. Thank you.
Have you enjoyed the event so far? I think it's been wonderful.
Beautiful evening.
And a better night for weather you could not find.
Anywhere else.
That wasn't even a question. I just prompted you.
Minnesota, for sure.
Yeah, no, you never know what you're going to get. A rousing round of applause for all of the weather today. You know, I mean, honestly, let everybody hear it. All right, now here is the fun part, everybody. Let's take a look at the stations of this cross. We have station number one right here. We've got wedding dresses. Ooh, we've got glasses. We got a lovely velvet frock right here. This is your first step to get good and sexified. Now, moving down here, station number two, we have a variety of headwear. We've got, this is kind of like a Dennis Hopper Easy Rider number right here. This is nice. We got some wigs. Ooh, we've got a fuzzy Vikings hat. That's great. Okay. Ooh, and right now, a hat that says America. Because, yeah, America. All right. Now, our second to last stop, a favorite of mine. We have taped to this traffic code, the traffic code of destiny, we'll call it, a number of mustaches and lipstick as made possible by our friends at MAC. Yeah, I'm a guy and I know MAC is good lipstick, so it's got to be great. Feel free to take them with you home. And here is the finish line right here. Whoever makes this the fastest will be winning one of these golden stilettos right here in front of me. But you know what? A race isn't all about speed. Sometimes, baby, it's about just looking the best. So we're also going to have an applausometer as judged by me. Whoever gets the most noise for their sheer beauty will be winning a golden stiletto as well. Are we straight? Do we get this? Everybody understand? I'm like 10 miles away. You got to make more noise than that. Okay, there we go. All right. Our racers are primed and ready to go. Look at them. All right, you guys all understand what we're doing? Sure, close enough. Hey, why not? All right, everybody, I want a little help from you here. I'm going to get out of the way because I'm going to get my ass ran over. Ladies and gentlemen, with me. On your marks, get set, go! All right. Well, Stephanie's out front. We got a pink frock. All right, now you gotta get it somewhat on. And safety is of some import here. I mean, not a lot, but some. Uh-oh, hold on. Is that Mary in the lead? Okay, so now we got the mustache / lipstick spot. Uh-oh. Number 1, fastest speed. I think, let's take a look. All right, Michelle over here, recently retired from Clay Housing. Number 1 on speed, everybody. A rousing round of applause for Michelle, everybody. Hey, I don't know if that's how you rouse in your neighborhood. My neighborhood rouses a little bit louder than that. Fastest Michelle, everybody. Hold on. All right, now, this is where it gets real fun. Now we get to see who you think looks the best. Everybody get over here in line, because this is the golden stiletto here. First up, dun, dun, dun. Michelle, here, take your stiletto.
Oh, yeah, you got it.
All right. And not only is it just a golden stiletto, it's been signed by Drag Superstar and the organizer of the Triangle of Hope fundraiser that Clare Housing had. That's card number 13. There we go. It's been happening for 25 years. Card number 14. Okay, so there we go. All right, so now let's do the fashionometer, everybody. I'm going to put my hand like this over their heads. They will do a lovely pose and dance, and I need your applause. So number 1. Number 2. Rock your wig right off. Number 3, and wow, this one's actually color coordinated. That's very nicely done. All right, with the velvet frock. Oh, and you know what? I'm a fan of the velvet hat. Any furry heat miser hat is fanned by me. Melissa working it. All right, Mary, you already won. Michelle, you won. All right, now, what about right here? Ladies and gentlemen, I think we know our style winner. Winning the second autographed stiletto. Ladies and gentlemen, Ivory, everybody. I mean, it takes a special person to be able to pull off a leather cowboy hat and a wedding dress. I saw that you've already been married once, but I say you have a recommitment ceremony or something with that ensemble. It's absolutely beautiful. Now, the show is not over yet, not by a ways. We have Bohemian Rhapsody coming up on the big screen right over here. If you like the Queen, you'll love this. Of course, a biopic about Freddie Mercury, who could go, Dale, and then the audience would go, Dale. So let's try that. Dale. Freddie Mercury had it better than me, but he's also a much better singer. Everybody, my name's Ian. Thank you very much for hanging out. Let's watch the movie, everybody. And a rousing round of applause yet again for all of our runners here of the first annual running of the Drag Kings and Queens. Bow to your royal court.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, good man.
All right, everybody. The party is moving on. We're going to do one song for you and warm